Never
been a
sucker,
aura.
lame, you can trust that.
See me
in the
club,
shaking
ass,
I'ma bust that.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Jeremy and Trang's Spectacular Podcast. I am your host, Trang, and of course, joining me, my co-host, your favorite comedian, Jeremy Pimp Lord. Say hi, Jeremy. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, but let's get the show started. We actually have this famous guest, our first guest on the show. You guys might know him from Padres Twitter, the famous Ryan Cohen on the show. What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. Good to see you. Trang, always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on. We're excited to catch up with you, see what's going on with you. Anything new that you want to share before we get into this?
We being me and Clark Farenthold, just recently launched a podcast of our own. I guess we're competing with you now. This is a tense rivalry. It's called The Brown and Gold Standard. We get into all the Padres stuff. I have the fan side of things. Clark's also a huge fan, but knows way more than I do about prospects and data and minor league stuff. And he's a really, really smart dude and fun to chat with. And we've been having a ton of fun. If you like this podcast and like talking about the Padres, I think you should check it out there too, and we'll have some fun on both sides.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners will love that. We've seen Clark around. He's a big nerd, just like Too Much Mortons and all of them. So hopefully you guys all can support Ryan and Clark. But backstory on all of us, the three of us have known Ryan since he was like, 15 or 16, I think, right?
Yeah, even earlier. I remember celebrating. Yeah, I mean, we've known each other since I was really young through the Padres Twitter world.
Yeah.
And I have a very specific memory on my 15th birthday. I didn't get a text from the girl I had a crush on, but I got a bunch of messages from you guys and being like, at least I have friends over there. And, my family was good to me and all that too. But yeah, so that was my 15th birthday. So I've known you guys since I was literally like a child.
That's crazy because I remember we just had this like group text amongst like 10 of us. That's it. We're just talking about the Padres. And I just remember this little Ryan always dancing at Padres game. And then the story I always tell is you catching strays with grown men when you were like 16 on there. Like, I just remember we were just talking about we were talking about some acquisition we made. I don't know if you remember this, and some man just tweeted, was your source a 16-year-old kid, Ryan Cohen? We're just like, why is this kid getting attacked by a grown man?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about that?
It taught me at a pretty young age, like, it's just not real. It doesn't really matter. It definitely bummed me out a lot back then. I've certainly got many more hate comments since, but I think it's really, really important to add that I have gotten so much love and so many opportunities and so many of the things I have in my life because of people through Twitter, and the trade-off of the good that I've gotten compared to random angry drunk men yelling than a 16-year-old now in my early 20s, like whatever, my mother reads some of the tweets sometimes, and I have to like talk her off the ledge a little and be like, this isn't real, this doesn't matter, they don't actually hate me, and if they do, they don't know me, so I don't really care. But it's a weird dynamic, especially at a young age, when I was like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, I know. Like, I just remember, like, God, why are you attacking a 16-year-old kid? It's like us protecting our little brother. But, like, all he does is go to games and dance, and then that's how people know you. So that's crazy to know you then, and then this transition of you doing that, then moving to New York, and now working with Jomboy. So tell us more about that. Oh, shit. Jeremy, I'm so sorry. I forgot you existed. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Ryan, buddy, hey, we go way back. What do you remember the trade deadline that really kind of brought that group together? It had to be, was it 14, 15?
2015, yeah, of course.
2015. Because I feel like I remember the day like my Padre fandom kind of like flipped, or like, I mean, I've always been a Padre fan, but something turned on was like the Justin Upton trade. Yeah. I think that was the winter, right around winter meetings, right? And so it was like after that, we had our little crew, and it was it was a good time. And we still have it. We're still around. So
still got it.
You've just gone on to so much success. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But trying to answer your question, I'm fine.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I forgot you existed for a second. But anyways, Ryan, go ahead and tell us a story how the success came to you.
I mean, a lot of luck for sure. A lot of luck, and a lot of people who are really good to me. I've always been a diehard huge baseball fan, Padres fan, and I really don't understand why my Twitter account got followers in the Twitter world. I understand it on the fan level. I don't understand why other fans don't also have it, because it's not like I'm doing anything unique. I got really lucky there, and then I was a huge fan of Jomboy Media. I loved their breakdowns, the lip readings, the podcast, the content. I just thought it was really good stuff. And post-college, I was kind of looking at things I wanted to do. I had met some of the people at the company, and it was the total dream job in college. It's what I wanted, and I knew that I had to live in New York in order to work there, but I didn't have a job, so I didn't want to move to New York, and I didn't really have the money to just up and move to New York without a job. And I got unbelievably lucky by winning some money on Wheel of Fortune, the television program, and took that money, moved to New York. I lived here for 6 months, didn't have a job. It was lonely, cold, like hard at times for sure. And then spot opened up, I got hired, and it has been like, I've worked there for 14 months now. It is such a joy. I love going to work every day. I love my coworkers. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Really lucky.
Yeah, we're just like, we're so happy for your success too, and how you've gotten here. Like, it's crazy to see this like growth from you and everything. But
that's really cool. Hey, why do you think Stephen Woods retweets your podcast links, but not ours? I just think it's interesting because you've got this big old, a job in baseball. You've got all this success, all these followers, this Ryan Cohen media company, essentially. So I find it interesting that he feels the need to promote you, prop you up, put you on this pedestal, this already established member in our little community, but somehow it doesn't feel the need to help us out at the same time. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I mean, Woodsy's been in the industry for a long time, and I don't look at it so much as promoting and more of he can identify talent. And what what he sees from Trang, I'm sure, is a lot of talent. And what he sees from me, he acknowledges some talent. And I think he might not see that with the other person on the podcast.
Or maybe he just doesn't see it. Because what's so weird is he sees all these other tweets. He's always replying to people. If Trang ever posts a thirst trap, he's the first one in there. He's like, oh, you should make out with my wife. And he's just always got like funny things to say to everybody else. But when we tweet our silly show out, he never sees it. Maybe we're shadow banned, and your posts are always in his feed. So maybe we got to contact ex headquarters, and be like, oh, what's going on here?
No,
our buddy Steven's not getting our tweets.
I'm sure he sees the tweets. I think there's a difference between seeing the tweets and then converting and watching the podcast and promoting the podcast.
That's all the questions I have for right now.
Well, kind of got a little out of hand, but Ryan, let's just get back to you. You said you've been living in New York for how long now?
I moved here in September of 2023, so a little under 2 years at this point.
So do you feel like you've settled in already?
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll always consider San Diego and California home, and I don't think I'll ever feel that way about New York. But I love my life here and my friends here and the job here. So I still have every intention of getting back to California at some point. But for this stage of my life, definitely happy to be here.
Okay, so what's much better in New York than it is in San Diego? Like
my job, period. Like
that's it.
Yeah, it's the one thing that's better. Everyone talks about the food, which is true. The food is really good, but it's also if you're going to get the actual high-end food, it's so expensive that the floor on food here is a lot lower than it is in San Diego. And there's no Mexican food
really?
Even touches. Yeah, there's just so many options here. Whereas San Diego, I feel like I have my spots that I want to go to. There's a certain buzz about New York City of you never know what you're going to see or who you're going to run into or what celebrity is walking down the street. And that's fun. That San Diego doesn't necessarily have that.
Okay, we know you're saying that because you're best friends with Emma Stone, and you want to just keep telling us about how that became about, because I'm feeling like people are interested in seeing all of a sudden you have a photo with them. And
yeah, Dave, her husband Dave McCary, is a huge Padres fan, and he reached out to me during the playoffs in 2022 and just said really nice things about my Twitter account and me being a Padres fan, and we started texting here and there. And then when I moved out here, they live in New York, one of their places is in New York, and we started hanging out a little more, and I am very, very grateful for Dave's friendship and how good he's been to me. Emma is absolutely lovely. She's exactly who you think she is. There's no ego or any of that. She's wonderful. And then Dave is just one of the kindest people I know. And obviously he has a cool job and she has a cool job and they have a different lifestyle than most of my friends, but at their core are really, really awesome people who I enjoy being with. If all of that stuff aside, I love them as friends.
I think you're much obviously more famous than us, and I know Jeremy wanted to be famous, but maybe one day you'll get there.
Yeah, hey, I have another question, Ryan.
Sure.
Do you think it's cool or good that you managed to weasel yourself a job in baseball because you danced like a goofball at Petco a few times? Do you think that like is like beneficial for society that you got those opportunities afforded to you? Do you think that's good?
Yeah, I think everyone should have more fun. I think this is a weirdly serious answer to your question. I think this whole like thing that my age group does of, oh, that's so cringe, is so dumb. And if you're having fun and not getting in the way of other people, that's awesome. And keep doing that. And is it a little ridiculous that I got attention for dancing on a Jumbotron and turned that into a career? Yes, 100%. But like I had fun the whole way. It never felt like I was like doing this to get followers or, it was just like, this is fun. I like doing it with my friends. It was good.
Yeah, I think that's what Jeremy's trying to do, but I think it's just taking a while to get there.
It just has to be organic. It has to be natural. You can't be forcing it and trying.
So do you think he's forcing it for the last 8 years or so of knowing him, through Padres Twitter?
Right. I can't speak for Jeremy. I'm just saying on the general. You can't.
It's the algorithm. I think that's what's really holding me back. I get shadow banned every now and then, so it's like I fight an uphill battle. Unlike you, always on the downhill. But
So Ryan, what do you see your life going next? Like, do you have any other plans?
I get asked these type of questions like, what type of growth do you see and all that all the time. And it's a blessing and a curse, but I think I'm really good at just kind of being where my feet are and not looking too far ahead, which is really cool in some ways, and then can obviously kind of screw you when it comes to planning. But I love my job right now. And until I feel any less joy from going to work every day, I don't want to change a thing. I don't want to do this forever, this current job at this current place, but I love it. And I love the people I work with, and I'm going to keep doing it until it's not fun, and then we'll do the next thing, whatever that is. I still want to be like a teacher at some point in my life. I love working with kids. There's a total real world in which I completely stop working in baseball and go do something completely different.
Yeah.
Or I work in baseball till I die. Like, I really have no idea. I try not to think about it too hard and just try and enjoy the fun while it lasts.
Wow,
That's
that's
awesome.
inspiring. Yeah, maybe you can dance on a Jumbotron and they'll give you a teaching job next. Maybe that's how it'll work. Maybe if you keep dancing on the Jumbotron, you'll get a job in baseball and teaching, and it'll just be, that's just how people get jobs now. You dance and you get all these opportunities afforded to you.
I have a question for you, Jeremy, because I've noticed a couple times
What's that?
Well, a couple times now you've gone back to this Jumbotron thing. It's true, but for you, like, you kind of dance like an idiot sometimes on TikTok and whatnot, and it doesn't seem like it's led to a job for you.
Frank, that's not funny.
Sorry, I just needed someone to tell you. Like,
No, it's not. I'm not trying to be rude. It's more of like an observation.
Well, thank you for being observant, Ryan. I guess when it boils down to the facts, you're really just a sweet, good-natured, honest kid. And I think that's where your opportunities have been presented to you, because you exude positivity, you exude enthusiasm, and I think that the universe has kind of turned that around and brought that back on you, and you have all these awesome opportunities to meet all these amazing people and to do this amazing work in a field that you're obsessed with and you're so passionate about. And I think that is the reason why people gravitate towards you, and you've amassed this following. As Padres fans, I don't think you're just one of us. I think you're the best of us, and I think you represent us well from the East Coast. And we're proud of you, Ryan.
That was very.
Thank
very
you for
sweet.
being you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're the GOAT.
Wow, ladies, that was so sweet. But let's get into what we're here for, and that is to talk about our San Diego Padres.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start it off by saying, I know this is like a bad take I got on Twitter, that I said it's nice to be that resilient team that comes back and wins, but this month stretch, to be honest, in my eyes, offensively, it has been very brutal. Okay, I just feel like they can do so much better, and I mean, we've seen it. I'm not asking for MVP caliber players every time. I'm not asking for MVP caliber baseball all the time. But I need the first inning to the eighth inning, something to happen. I need more production. I need, there's opportunities, so many opportunities to capitalize and produce, and they're not doing that lately. Yes, we'll take all the wins we can, but I don't think what's going on is sustainable given that this month it's a really tough schedule, clearly. Whatever they're doing right now and being like this resilient team after the eighth inning will not fare well, I think, with the Dodgers and the D-backs because they are very good, very great team at late wins. So I don't know. So Ryan, do you want to take the floor and get your thoughts on what you feel about the Padres lately?
Last night's game, for example, until 2 outs in the ninth, was incredibly boring. And if they lose that game, if Manny's single goes 20 feet further and is caught to end the game, I go to bed being like, I just wasted 3 hours of my life. And now, incredible ending, that was awesome, and that was great.
Yeah.
But you're right in that the actual experience of watching that game was pretty bad until the very end. I keep coming back to the fact that I know they're going to improve. I know not just the players on the team right now, but I know that Preller's going to make moves to improve the roster. Jason Hayward, even Brandon Lockridge, who's a fine fourth outfielder, will not be starting playoff games for the Padres this year. So I think that this Tatis slump and the Merrill slump, and the Merrill slump is a little overblown, I think. And Arise hasn't really gotten hot yet. I have belief in those three to be stars and do what they do. That's just an internal belief in the players we have. I have an even stronger belief that Preller will make upgrades. So when the back three in the lineup are awful, and they've been so bad, once you get past like Sheets, it's been ugly. I have enough faith that there will be increased production from outside the organization that I try not to stress too much about the offensive woes as long as they're winning. Because if you win 3-2 now and that becomes 7-2 later in the year, that's fine. They keep finding a way to win, and it's not sustainable. They do need to add offense. You're not going to win a World Series as the roster is constructed. But right now, it's working enough, and stay afloat through this month of June and then add something in the month of July, and I think you're in a really good spot.
It's funny watching these last few games and getting this feeling that, like, we're not 10 games over 500. It's like there's this, and I think I felt this way about Oracle Park for years. This is my least favorite stadium to play in. There's barely any runs ever scored. It's just a slog to get through these games. Just not being able to score any runs, and the offense just looks so, mediocre. Mediocre might be, a compliment at this point, but through those first 8 innings or so, it's hard to watch, and then the game's over, and you look up, and you're like, oh, we're 11 games over 500. Maybe we shouldn't. Well,
Schilt talks about it all the time, and good teams find a way to win. And you have to beat the Pirates and you have to beat the Marlins. But the Pirates and Marlins are bad because good teams beat them, and that's what you have to do. The Giants' offense has been struggling mightily. They have struggled in this series. Padres' offense hasn't been good either, right? And the Giants and the Padres were at the same spot before these recent skids. The Padres' offense has been, a hair, literally a sac fly and an RBI single better. That's it. But it's good enough. It's good enough to find ways to win. And then again, I think it's going to be a better team it could be by the end of the week that they trade for someone, but I certainly think by the end of July, it'll be a much more complete roster.
Yeah, and I see that too. And I know this is a negative way to see it, but that month stretch that we had in May when we're just losing to teams like the Mariners and not even doing well against the Angels, this offense hasn't showed up. It's yes, there's 162 games, but I just feel nowadays, every game counts so bad because we've been there when we got to the postseason, close to the postseason. We are 1 or 2 games short of the wild card, and we are just in fear. And now we're trying to root for other teams, to help us. And it's just dang, we could have beat the Marlins. I look back 1 or 2 games through the Marlins, the easiest team. And I think that's what hurts, and that's what I'm thinking about already. And I know it's kind of soon, but I do agree. There's going to be some moves soon. I don't know, Jeremy, you want to add on to that? Or Ryan.
I was just going to go with baseball is so funny because every game absolutely 100% does matter. It does.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, it can come down to one game. And I'm not trying to minimize that. There's also the inherent reality that you're going to lose 60, 70 games a year. It's basically impossible not to. So it's just kind of, you have to accept some of the losses as hard as they are, as much as they suck. But starting 7-0 and starting 14-3, let that horrible skid in Toronto and Seattle when they got swept and scored 4 runs in 6 games or whatever it was.
So brutal,
so bad. It honestly didn't. It's not that it didn't matter. It could absolutely matter come the end of the year. But the start you got off to was able to minimize how much it mattered in such a huge way.
Yeah.
A skid can so easily be erased by another week of solid play. It's easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-day, but really
They haven't
anything
played well, and
around.
they're 8-3 in their last 11, and they have not
Right.
played
Yeah.
good baseball.
That's what's so interesting. I was going to ask you. You brought up the additions that could be coming soon to the team. I wanted to ask your perspective. Do you think Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas are completely off limits, or are you moving them for the right price?
I know that at the deadline last year, I was told by someone very high up with the Padres that they will trade DeVries or Salas over my dead body. I don't know how they feel about them almost a year later. I'm assuming it hasn't changed that much. I personally feel like Salas is more likely than DeVries, but I don't think either is particularly likely. And I think if you look at the names out there, even Jarren Duran, who has 4.5 years of service time left, I don't think it's necessarily going to command those level of prospects, because look at the Red Sox situation for Duran specifically.
Yeah.
Duran's 28. They need to call up Roman Anthony. They haven't been good. You can make a very real argument that in 2025, the Red Sox are better with Roman Anthony and, say, Jeremiah Estrada and another reliever, because their bullpen has been so bad. And yes, you hate losing Duran, especially if you're trying to win this year. But there's a world in which they get better this year, let alone any prospect package. So that's a specific example that came to mind because of the Rosenthal and Dennis Lin article earlier this week. But I don't think, just looking at the names available, there's anyone that I'd be willing to give those two up for, and I don't think they'll have to.
Okay, but adding on to that, since left field is such like a desperate need, and, Jarren Duran's name has been put in there, and obviously Luis Robert Jr., what do you guys prefer more of, or who do you guys prefer? And Jeremy, you go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. I feel like, and this has been talked about before, Duran has the higher floor, and Robert has the higher ceiling, and Robert also, I think, has the lower floor. Robert's stats right now are a little scary, because, he has to get a lot better to help us out, which he's obviously capable of, and I think moving to a better lineup is going to help him out a ton. But he's also moving to a hitter's park, which might hurt him a little bit. So how much is moving to a better lineup versus moving to a hitter's park, facing better pitching? What's that going to do to him? It's risky, which is why you got to worry about giving up like extreme prospect capital for somebody, such a boomer bust type of guy. I feel a little safer with Duran just because he's he's a dynamic player, he's fast, he can do all sorts of things. But anyone would be better than what we've got right now.
I think as Padres fans in the AJ Preller tenure, we've kind of come accustomed to, you trade for the superstar, because he's done it so many times.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's awesome, and that has helped the team in many, many ways. But literally league average left field right now would be such a huge upgrade from what it's been. So absolutely. I do think he'll try and get a real bat and not just league average. But if it is the absolute minimum of league average, it's better than what it's been.
Yeah. Austin Hayes is another name that I think could be interesting too. He's been really pretty good this year, and not quite as high profile as those other guys, but like I said, almost anyone would be an improvement at this point.
Yeah, because I think I saw listed 8 teams that are willing to sell. Yeah. And we can get anyone that, and it's not only just 2 of the names that we've been hearing too. And I also know that a lot of our order is terrible. And we were talking about we should have gotten we should get another catcher for sure. And so Jeremy, I know you are all on Campy. Are you still all about Campy?
Part of my Campy, bit is a bit. I'm exaggerated how I feel a little bit. I don't think he's this amazing hitter or player or anything like that. Martin Maldonado hit negative 0.5 WAR today on Fangraphs. Diaz is trending downward as well, who was really impressive actually to start the year.
Yeah.
It was hard to have too many complaints about him, but I just think these 2 catchers are so old. I can't see them making it through the whole season. I understand if they don't want to give him catching reps at this point, but our good friend Too Much Morton's just brought up Shea Langoliers on the A's, who had defensive questions as a catcher, but showed improvement in his year 27 season, which is next year for Campusano. So, he's still so cheap. He's still so young compared to all the other catchers at the major league level. I hope they don't give up on him. I know he's got his issues mentally and whatever else off the field that they worry about. He's not a veteran, and I know Schilt values that in his catchers. But I just think after some point, your catchers are hitting, barely over 200 and just under 200. It's like his floor is still significantly better than that. I think he's got room to grow from there too. So is he ever going to be a plus defender at catcher? Probably not. But man, just watching the offense these last few days and the subbing out Maldonado for Diaz gimmick is kind of funny. So I hope that they give him more opportunities. I know he hasn't exactly taken advantage of it since he's gotten called up, but I don't know. And I don't think anyone can really take advantage of a playing situation where you're getting 2 at-bats every few days. You're going to be pressing in those situations.
I mean, the unfortunate truth is that
was it.
The Padres mishandled his development. And I don't know if that's necessarily their fault or Campy's fault or just the way it all panned out. He was a pretty highly ranked prospect that they weren't willing to include in a lot of deals for. I mean, remember, Campy Sano's name was being floated around in a Mookie Betts trade. Like, he was a very highly ranked catching prospect. Now, catcher in general it's weird because I watch Diaz and Maldonado come up and Diaz take this huge swing and a miss every single at-bat. And it's like, oh my God, we have to improve there. But you look around the league and there's no one. I mean, it's Cal Raleigh is going to be an MVP finalist and Will Smith is solid. Now, even Adley, who has had some good years in recent memory, hasn't been that good. JT Realmuto had a 4-year stretch of being the best catcher in baseball. He hasn't been that good. Sean Murphy's been like, nah. So even the A-list catchers aren't really hitting. So I don't need you to be an elite hitter. But I mean, I need you to come up and think, hey, we have a chance at a single right now. And when Martin Maldonado steps to the plate, I don't feel that way. So I don't know what the solution is there. Again, it's kind of the same with left field. Maybe AJ makes a splash for a name like Langoliers, but I really think you just need league average offense. And if you're good enough defensively, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Maldonado defensively with our pitchers? How he matches up with our pitchers too? Like, that's something I feel like we haven't really talked about either. Or is that a concern to you guys at all?
I think a lot of that stuff we'll never know because it's all behind the scenes. But just
as a fan, no,
yes.
I don't. Yeah,
I feel the same way. And he's caught every single Dylan Cease start. Cease hasn't been good. I think the stuff is fine. I'm not necessarily worried about Cease, but he certainly hasn't been the ace that he was last year. I don't blame Maldonado for that, but if your whole thing is being a personal catcher, you kind of need your guy to be good,
Yeah.
Exactly. So. Yeah, I don't know what direction they're going to go into. Campusano's been taking a bunch of reps at first pregame. He was playing first for a little bit in El Paso, so I don't know if they're seriously looking at that, in the middle of the season as opposed to in spring training, but we'll see. Speaking of some of our favorite players on the show, Mr. Gavin Sheets had a little bit of an incident. Trang, glad to see he's okay. I'm sure you were worried about that.
I know, just like the guy that was carrying our team for a bit, or for most of the month, and I just that experiment was over for me. When I saw that, I was like, we're done. Like, can't have that anymore. And it just sucks that we are not privileged, I guess the word, to just use him, or the luxury actually, to have him just as a DH. I feel like that's what he would be great for, but we just don't have that right now. And
we need to get to that point.
Yeah.
He should not be. He's been amazing, and he's been clutch, and he's been great. But he's not a left fielder. He's not a first baseman. He's a DH.
We're just doing too much for him, and all he has to do is just DH, and we can't have that right now.
That's right.
But I don't know if you guys obviously you guys looked at this month's schedule. How do you guys see that going? Because it's a tough schedule with only 2 days off.
Going back to the catcher thing, I think this is an opportunity where a third catcher might get some more reps just because these 2 older catchers are going to be playing. So, I mean, they rarely get days off because they swap for each other so frequently. So I wonder if that's part of the reason why Campusano's up right now, because he's really not getting any at-bats, just generally speaking. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned yet because it's off to a pretty good start, and they're not hitting. So I got to imagine they're going to get it going at some point, and good things will follow.
It's a really tough schedule, and it's really good teams. I think it's just kind of you have to stay afloat here and get to July and make those additions that we've been talking about. The Dodgers games, people are going to overreact on both sides, whether it's all wins or all losses or somewhere in between. I care about those games. I want to beat the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. Those 7 games are just, we can't look too much into them because this month we just have to get, if we finish June at 500 for the month, that's a success.
Perfect. Yeah.
That series is going to be exciting though, because we're right behind them.
We're a game back.
which
It'll
is
be
so crazy at the same time. But go ahead, Jeremy.
exactly to be playing like this and then to only be one game back is it's encouraging and kind of funny at the same time.
I mean, and I'm sure Dodgers fans will say this. They haven't hit their stride either.
Right.
We all hate the Dodgers. That baseline. They're incredible. They're really, really, really good, and they're gonna get hot and they're gonna rip off a 22-3 streak. Like they're gonna do that. Can we? Can the Padres? I think yes.
Yeah.
I think they can do that, especially after the deadline. But it's gonna be a fun dogfight all summer, hopefully.
Definitely.
I'm just watching Muncie get hot, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, when is Arthur?
Happens.
When is somebody? All right.
Oh man, I hate looking at him.
Not easy on the eyes, man.
Oh dear. Okay. Was there anything else, Trang, that we want to talk to our friend Ryan before we let him go? He's a busy man. He's got
I know,
a lot
he's
to
busy,
do, a lot
and
of
he's
places to
famous.
be. He's got to
I
go hang
know.
out with Emma Stone and
Yeah, probably do more videos with Jomboy. Yeah, so.
wait.
But
I wanted to bring up this guy. Do you work with the Ice guy from TikTok?
Yeah, Jack and Zoe. They're great. They're awesome.
What's his name?
Jack and Zoe. There are two of them. Jack's the pitcher
Okay.
with the long hair, and then Zoe's
Yes.
usually the one taking the at bats.
This is my Jack impression. Baseball's a fun sport. Let's talk about it. Have you seen that?
Good. It's pretty good.
Is that how he
not
sounds?
bad. I love Jack, dude. He is dry humor, but so funny, and you never know
seems
he's
like a
got a
cool
rip.
guy.
His brain works different.
Okay. Anything else, Trang?
that's it. Well,
Thank you guys
Ryan?
for having me. It's been, I'm very grateful to have you in my corner, and it's been a wild decade of Padres baseball. But you guys are awesome, and I appreciate
Absolutely.
you having me on.
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
thanks for coming on. We just wish you best of success and hope you keep flourishing,
Thank you, and to everyone listening. JM Baseball channel on YouTube. We have a ton of baseball trivia stuff. It's really fun. Those videos have been going nuts. Like unbelievable number of people watching them every day and comments and all that. So if you love baseball, check that out because I loved it as a fan and now I get to be a part of it and it's a ton of fun. So check that out.
All right, let's listen to Ryan and then his podcast with Clark too.
Both of them. Find me anywhere. Thank you
Round
guys.
gold standard. All right. Thanks so much. Bye, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye. Well, that went great. I thought that was really nice of Ryan to join us. So, what do you think, Jeremy? Would you say Ryan is creamy? I guess.
Me. Yeah, he was pretty creamy, I'd say. Creamier than Jackson Merrill, that's for sure. Jackson Merrill's not looking very creamy right now. In fact, he's a little on the crusty side, the opposite of creamy. Hey, that was awesome of Ryan to join us. A friend of the program, a friend of the Pentacular podcast. Speaking of prominent members of our silly little baseball community, did I ever tell you about the time that I met another prominent member of our baseball community, one host of the John and Jim show, Jim Russell?
No, you haven't. Care to explain that? Or?
Yeah, let me tell a little story. This was probably like 8 years ago or so. I just finished up at Palomar, and I'd been going there for a long time. I didn't want to go to school anymore, so I wanted to get a job, and I didn't know what job to get. I didn't have any passions besides baseball and my phone. So I was like, how can I monetize this situation? And I saw people talking about getting a job in baseball media and working for related outlets. And I was like, I wonder how I could finagle myself into a field like that. So, Jim was on Twitter and he was I think he was just a producer at this time, which is what he did for a long time. But I knew just in his he had media, I don't know, creator, producer, whatever. I think we followed each other, and I thought we had some sort of rapport where I could be like, so I messaged him and I was like, hey man, I'm looking to get some just information on what you do, what somebody with no experience should do if he wants to get into this type of industry, whatever information you have, just let me know. And I think on the first or second reply, he was like, hey, do you want to come to the 97.3 studios? I'll give you a tour and we can chat. That was, early 20s Jeremy. He's like, oh, I was not expecting this, but sure. So I go to the studios, I meet him in the elevator. And at the time, this was when Rich Herrera was doing pre and post game.
Oh, wow.
And so he walks me into the office where Rich Herrera is sitting. It's funny looking back now, but I got this sense of I was feeling starstruck in front of Rich Herrera. It's like, oh, I hear him on the radio. So the three of us just start talking about, I don't know, baseball, about me, what I want to do, where I want to go. And he asks me, what do I want to do? And this is not something I'd really thought of seriously, other than I just want to be involved in baseball and the digital space, whatever that entails. I have no idea. So I'm trying to like articulate myself where like I just want to be involved somehow. I don't know what the job titles are. I don't know what it would take for me to get into this. I'm hoping that's what you would tell me. But he asked me probably like 4 or 5 times, like, what do you want to do? And I never had like a good answer for him. So what started as like kind of like a nice, kind of like cute conversation between the three of us, I sensed him getting kind of like frustrated or maybe a little impatient just because I wasn't giving him, I guess, what he was expecting. I don't know if he thought the gym was wasting his time by bringing me there, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. I want to tweet. Is that what you want to hear? I use like, why do you think you like should work here? I think I said like, it'd be cool to get paid and work in baseball. And he's like, well, you don't do the job for the money. I'll tell you that right now. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, I think I know a lot about baseball. And he's like, well, there's always somebody who knows more. And I was like, so the conversation just kind of like fizzled out, and it was a kind of an abrupt ending. There was probably like a small part of my brain that was thinking like, I wonder if this will lead to some sort of like internship or like entry level job. It did not lead to that. And so I left and it didn't go anywhere. Jim and I didn't keep in contact. He no longer follows me. I no longer follow him in retaliation. So that was my story, meeting Jim Russell. He was super nice. That was really cool of him to do that. I'm sure he thought maybe, I don't know if he thought I had a little bit more potential than I did at the time. But I don't know. The fact he thought to do that, I don't know. Maybe he does that to everyone who DMs him. Was just super cool. Yeah, Rich, I remember Rich was like, we don't want just fans working here, because we don't want people upset when they're trying to be, working the soundboard or whatever. We want people who, want to get better or want to learn the industry. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to learn. I don't know. I guess he didn't sense that I wanted it bad enough. So that's my story. What do you think about that?
Are you finally done?
That was it.
Clearly, you didn't get far from it, and that wasn't that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah. I did get a job in social media shortly after that, though, but not baseball. So I guess maybe that was the event that kickstarted the fire in me to post on Facebook accounts for dental Facebook pages.
So you just
my
settled.
passion.
You pretty much settled. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening in to another episode of Jeremy and Trang's Spectacular Podcast. And we want to thank Ryan for being on the show as well. So like and subscribe this video and subscribe to our channel, please. And maybe next episode, Jeremy and I could show you guys how to get to Beachbody. So thank you guys, and go Padres.
Nice.
Yes.
Good wrap up, Train.
Thanks.
That was great.
Learn from you. Just learn from the
You
best.
did it. Oh, that was fun. Wow. Well, look, we have over an hour and almost 13 minutes here. It's funny.
That sounds like today.
Funny.
Bust that.